Let's talk anime. Hello and welcome to Brandon's Discuss Anime, a Let's to Me podcast. I am your host, Brandon Horvath, and with me are my co-hosts, Brandon Palinger.
I'm here. I enjoy my pork.
Delicious, delicious pork.
Pork. I had my bacon this morning. Ugh. I'm sorry to any vegetarians and vegans out there. I can't stop.
Can't stop, won't
Good.
stop, might stop.
Can't stop. Won't stop. Come up with something better. Maybe I'll stop.
And also with us, Ryan Stokely.
Hey, that's me.
So, guys, I finished Cowboy Bebop.
Is it
Oh,
terrible?
It has flaws. I can see through some of the flaws. I'm sticking with my original thought 72.
You're being one of the more generous people I've heard this stuff from.
yeah, I just didn't. I only watched the first episode, and then I saw it got canceled already, so I just didn't even bother finishing it.
I did hear there's like a bunch of fans. I think it's 100,000 signatures or somewhat close to asking for a second season.
I
Yeah,
don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, cool. We'll spend another $1 million or $2 million an episode."
Well, and like, so I know that some of us watched Channel Awesome back in the day when it was a thing.
Yeah,
Um, you guys watch Bennett the Sage at all?
No.
no.
Well, he did a two-part not retrospective, but like I guess you could call it like the eulogy maybe for the new Bebop. And
Mm,
essentially he kind of goes into the background about how Bebop got picked up in general by by Netflix, right?
mm,
So based on what he was saying, it ended because it got picked up because Disney was originally working with Netflix prior to this, and then kind of pulled the rug out from underneath them
Oh.
at the
mm.
last minute with like some Marvel shit that they were planning. And so they scrambled and were like, "Well, we need something that's gonna, capture audience attention, something that would feasibly might be able to replace what we just lost because of all the horse shit that we just went through." And because, anime licensing is normally very expensive, but in Bebop's case, it's not owned by the creator so much as it is by the studio itself. So they had an easier time getting Bebop's licensing, and as such, they were like, "Oh man, this'll work. People love this thing. We can use this, and it should make us the money we lost out on." Or at least that's the way that they thought.
Mm.
And it clearly was never going to do that. And because it didn't, that second season is not happening.
I don't even know what are any recent good Netflix shows. Like Stranger Things
I
was the
have
hotness, and then
I have heard Midnight Mass is pretty good.
okay. Oh, the Umbrella Academy, I guess. I don't know if that's a Netflix original though.
Red Notice was pretty good for a Netflix movie. Yeah, but I
Movies are
do like the fact that they
Hubie
did
Halloween.
have some shot for shot remakes of some of the anime scenes.
See, I
Huh.
don't like that. What I would have preferred would have been for them to do something wholly original, not a shot-for-shot remake, because why wouldn't I just watch the original then?
Like I said, of some of the scenes, like not all of it is a shot for shot remake.
No, obviously, because
Yeah,
they can't. They don't have the money to do it.
because oh my god, like my biggest complaint, too much vicious.
That's what a lot of people say.
Way too
Nobody likes
much.
Vicious.
Way
Nobody's
too
happy with
much.
Vicious. They either don't like his personality, which, based on what I've heard, makes a lot of sense, or he's being completely overused. And/or.
I would say he probably has a good hour and a half of screen time within the 10, 45, 50 ish minute episodes when in the original series, he probably only had like half an hour of screen time, maybe less. So it's like they nearly tripled his total screen time. And it's like, we need a villain for this. We need an overarching villain.
Hmm.
How they could have done it better was just bring up his name, make him like all mysterious, and then maybe have like a flashback or two, and then bring him in episode 10 and have something happen as a cliffhanger into season 2.
See, like I said, don't think I would have touched the original cast whatsoever. I would not have touched Bebop at all, insofar as like Jet,
Spike and Faye.
Ed, Spike, Faye. I wouldn't have touched them at all. What I would have done instead would have been to follow somebody else in the same universe.
Oh!
Right? That way it doesn't even have to be at the same time either. It could have been a couple of years earlier, a couple of years later, etc. Right? I wouldn't have touched it. Maybe if you're going to set it at around the same time, you hear some like rumors of those people and what they were doing. But I would not have touched the main cast. I would have done something that would have gone alongside it. That way you don't have to worry about meeting expectations for everyone else. You don't have to worry about trying to keep up with who the characters are and worry about trying to, make sure that they're done justice in the way that they need to be done.
Okay.
It would have made a whole lot easier of a thing. Like, if you can talk to the original creator to get some insights on like how the world is meant to work, great. But I would not have touched it with the same characters. I would have gone with a different set of people.
And if this was made 10 or 15 years ago, and I heard, like, when they were talking about a Cowboy Bebop live action movie 10, 15 years ago, Keanu Reeves was in talk to be Spike. I could see Keanu Reeves 10 or 15 years ago as Spike.
I don't know. Just because every time I've seen Keanu, he's just played the same character. It hasn't felt different. It's just been, oh, this is just Keanu. He's playing Keanu.
But there's my kind of rant. I would say if you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop, you should watch the Netflix series first so you don't have your expectations set high. And if you know of Cowboy Bebop, you should try to turn off everything you know and see it in a different continuity.
See, that's the hardest part because they do shot-for-shot remakes. That is the biggest problem to me. It's like you've done shot-for-shot remakes, which makes it almost impossible to not compare the two directly.
Right. But I'm still going with it's okay, but it's not, like, wonderful.
I still feel like you're being the most generous person I've ever heard talk about this so far. Like, anyone that has seen the original series, at least. If it's someone that hasn't, you're about par, I think, with what I've heard from people that haven't seen the original.
I'm sorry, but just some scenes are hilarious. Like, the comedy is there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have a way of beaming your, like, holograms, but you're actually there. So, and they give Jet a daughter, which I'm like, okay. But he needs to go to some play his daughters in the middle of a bounty chase. So Spike's off fighting some guys, and Jet goes to see his daughter via hologram. And every now and then, you see Jet watching, like, through the hologram. In the background windows, Spike just getting the shit beat out of him, and Jet is smiling, clapping for his daughter, and I'm just like, that's good comedy there.
Can I ask a question?
Yes?
Is there any reason why we couldn't have made this an original character and not Jet? And used the same situation?
I don't know.
Like, that's the biggest problem I have. It's just like, why even touch the characters and risk this kind of backlash? Just make something more original
Uh,
with a new set of characters.
That probably would have made people even more upset, to be honest.
I don't see why. If it's set in the same universe and you're not touching the original characters, I don't see people being upset.
Yeah.
Like
Ah.
you could still do like the bounty hunter like TV show. Like that would still be broadcasting, I would think. Like that part of it would still be there, obviously. You know, you could still visit some of the places that show up in the original, but with these other characters.
and every now and then, Big Shot may mention, "Oh, and another bounty by Spike Spiegel."
Yeah, like you could hear rumors or something like that, or hell, you could even hear a rumor about Vicious or something, right? You
Mm.
get those tantalizing background details. Hell, if you really wanted to, there's fucking Spike walking in the background somewhere. You just don't focus on him, but he's there.
Hmm. So, anything going on with you guys?
Just moved and that's about it. Took
It's,
too long.
it's about the same old over here. I do have a question though. I am curious about this.
Yes.
What is one of your dumbest fears that you're sure somebody else has? Or perhaps even like a paranoia that you might have.
Is that I'll always be alone?
All right, that was not the one I was going for. I was going for something a little more petty and less existential.
Yeah.
Because I mean, here, let me list off the one that comes to my mind immediately. It's that I'm paranoid that I'm going to leave the bathroom and not flush a toilet.
Oh.
I did that the other day at work. I thought I did that.
I'm constantly paranoid about that, so I'm like having to before I leave double check did I actually flush.
Almost like leaving the oven on.
Like in a public restroom, I'm a little less having a problem with that because it's public and I don't feel like it's as big a problem. I mean, it's shitty, don't get me wrong. No pun intended, but
Ah.
like it's not like it's someone's house or the place you work.
Yeah.
So using that as an example, what comes to mind for either of you?
That I won't lock the door before I go? I don't know.
That's a good one though.
Let's see.
Ryan's just too chill. He's never paranoid about anything.
Yeah, basically that's me. Except like existential dread. I'm like,
Yeah,
That's
dude,
always
yeah.
fun.
That's like, yeah.
When do the Cthulhu mind goblins come for us all?
what are you getting at?
No, it was something that came to my mind while it took us some time to get to this recording. That it popped into my head as like, it'd be a cool question to ask on the podcast. Just
Oh,
get some personality insights.
yeah. I'm pretty chill except for existential dread. You're worried about the toilet, and Ryan's
Yep.
chill. The
Yeah.
more you know. Yeah.
But I feel like everyone's got that fear of like, shit, did I actually flush the toilet? I don't know.
So, Ryan, today's anime is a movie, a 1992 movie,
Ooh.
Die Hard.
Maybe I've seen it.
Porco Rosso.
Never saw it. Never heard of it.
So, Ryan, would you care to describe the movie Porco Rosso?
Wait. Say it one more time.
Porco Rosso.
Porco Rosso. That's what I thought you said.
It is. Should I give him the? Well, it's a. Ooh, no, I don't even want to give
No,
that much away.
Well, why is it Porco Rosso? Sounds like about a pig's quinceañera or something.
Refresh my memory. What's a quinceanera?
It's like
Think of it like a Sweet 16, but for Hispanic girls that are 15.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. I thought I heard the term.
So it takes place in Spain,
Uh-huh. Go on.
and just follows these pig. It's like animals, and
Mm-hmm.
the pigs are having a quinceañera for their daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it just follows them like playing in the party whatever. And then maybe like the someone from the family gets lost. Like they're like, oh, let's go get some I don't know, some kind of rare flower, but it's in the forest or whatever nearby. They get lost in the forest, so then they go, and some like magic stuff happens, even though there's already talking animals, but in their world it's magic.
Okay.
So that happens, and then like at the end they all get together for pork for whatever the name pork and saw
Porco
Arkansas.
Rosso.
Porco Rosa
Pork, Arkansas. Is that the 51st state? Arkansas.
yeah
Arkansas is split in half.
yeah, and then that's that. So it's just a nice little slice of life with a little mishap or a couple mishaps maybe, but with pigs that are humanized, whatever the word for that is.
Okay. So here's what I want to do. I want to add a little spice to this, just to see if this changes anything.
Okay.
All right. This is a Studio Ghibli movie. So does that change your opinion or idea on anything else that you've already listed?
Why does that? That sounds very familiar.
It's Miyazaki's studio.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like Spirited Away and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I'm right there. I'm pretty close.
And I may be mispronouncing the title in Japanese because I think it might be Rosso because I listened to an English dub of it. So it may be like Porco Rosso but it is an Italian title meaning the red pig.
Oh wow. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So you had some aspects right. It takes place around World War One. Shortly after that, not like World War II that I initially teased. I kind of half misremembered the whole time setting of this, but
Yeah, it's I believe 1930, like just prior to World War II.
1929.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
And one interesting thing about the English dub, there are two dubs for this. One made in 2015 by Disney,
That's weirdly recent.
and one made in where is it? 1996 by Japan Airlines.
What?
So they had an English dub of this movie for their airline service that was the official English dub until the Disney dub got like overtaken it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that not a major studio, there may have been like some studio behind it, but the Wikipedia calls it the Japan Airlines dub.
Now I'm curious if it's any good.
It was pretty good, but I would notice like one or two mouth flaps were a bit off.
Okay.
But
It's funny, like, because I was talking about Ghibli films with my friend Karen the other night, and one of the things that really bugged her about one of the more recent ones, Ponyo, was that like they started pulling in their teeny bopper people at the time to do the voice acting. Like they pulled in the Jonas Brothers, and it's like what?
No, I believe it was the Jonas Brothers' younger brother and Miley Cyrus's younger sister to do the voice acting.
She mentioned that, yeah, like it might have been. She wasn't sure if that was the case for Miley Cyrus's younger sister.
Oh, and one thing, speaking about Ponyo, that I just found out, Betty White voiced one of the old women in the village.
See, now that's a decent casting choice. Like, my biggest problem is when you want to try to cast kids, but they're not voice acting kids. Or people that can do the voice acting for kids, right? You're pulling someone that you've, like, thrown on a TV show to do shit.
Yeah.
But clearly don't know how to voice act. I don't know. She said the dub kind of ruined a lot of it for her.
And I only saw that because Betty White recently died, so... Yep. One interesting thing was the American version. Well, actually, both them changed his last name to another Italian name.
Mm-hmm.
His name is like Marco Pego.
Yeah, Big O or something like that. Yeah.
And in the Japan Airlines dub, his name is where is it in my notes? Porcino. And in the Disney dub, it's Rossellini.
Oh.
Which I also found to be, I think a Porcino sounds a little bit like a pork product.
Yeah, it sounds too much like some kind of food.
So maybe there was a like wordplay in there.
It's almost like you're saying he's Porco Porcolini. Like pork tortellinis.
That would be good, tortellini stuff with pork.
That wouldn't be bad.
Okay.
Throw some barbecue sauce in there.
Ooh. So, he is a Italian pilot for hire, and he has the head of a pig.
Oh, okay.
Don't ask why. We don't get an answer.
Yeah. I don't know if, like, something happened to him, or he thought of himself as a pig due to events that happened in his past, like, so much that he turned into a pig.
So, I looked this up last night.
Yes.
Because I'm like, it's the one thing we never find out. So, the supposed reason is because it's released in a press statement. It's not even in the fucking movie.
Oh.
It's because he was disillusioned with humanity and cursed himself to become a pig.
What?
He cursed himself?
Miyazaki is quoted in saying, "When a man becomes middle-aged, he becomes a pig."
Huh.
Now, that's not a very satisfactory answer for me. Like, I can get the idea. I don't like it as an explanation, though.
Huh.
Because this is, like, that literally is the only form of magic in this entire movie, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah?
I mean, like, Porco is a World War I vet, right? So I understand the idea of being disillusioned with humanity after seeing all that. I don't understand how the fuck he can curse himself to be a pig.
Because, like, he's not a wizard.
He's not a wizard.
You're a wizard, Marco!
Oink. No, it really doesn't make sense. Like, and like at points, it'd be like, oh, he just sees himself that way. But no, everyone says he's just a pig.
Except
like everyone points it out.
Except for that one scene on the beach where his kind of girlfriend sees him as a human and is like, oh, it must have been a dream.
Yeah, like he flickers back. Which kind of leads to like the slightly unsatisfying ending.
Yeah?
But we should probably get through more like the outline of the plot here before we get to that.
Okay.
So it's honestly kind of outside of the whole pig thing, a very simple story of like, oh man, this guy's a bounty hunter. He takes down these what do they call them? Sky pirates? Is that what they call them?
Yes. Oh, and I know you didn't listen to the English dub, probably.
I did not.
And I
was going to, but then I just found the sub first, and I'm like, yeah, this works.
And I listened to the Japan Airlines dub, which has a lot of unknowns in it, or like small bits at the time, but what big star do you think they chose to do the leader of the Sky Pirates?
Voice
So
actor?
before I answer that, I want to ask you something.
Yes.
Does the leader of the Sky Pirates, to you, remind you of someone from a different show?
Now that you mention it, yes, but Chi-Chi's dad from Dragon Ball.
That is not the one I was gonna pick.
Oh,
He
okay.
reminds me of Bluto from fucking Popeye.
Oh.
Like, he's got the scraggly beard and everything.
Oh, yes, yes. But
Like, that was the first thing I thought when I saw him. I'm just like, that looks like fucking Bluto.
who do you think they chose to be the Sky Pirate Captain?
Tom Hanks.
Brad Garrett.
I have no idea who that is.
Hey, it's me, Raymond. Like, he has a very Eeyore-esque voice.
That sounds like a terrible choice for somebody that's supposed to whip everyone into shape by screaming at them.
Yeah, since he wasn't in the dub I've seen, but I could kind of see Brad Garrett's like deep booming voice being like authoritarian, although he's not known for being like very loud roles. He's more of a laid back guy, so I'm like, huh, that's kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, and of course, since this is post World War One times, there's a flashy American,
Of course there is.
Curtis, who is possibly the closest thing to a villain of this movie.
I mean, they're all kind of outlaws in some way, shape, or form. Because it's kind of like you're led to believe that like after World War One, the pilots from that time period were kind of left with nothing to do, and as such, they've turned into these sky pirates or bounty hunters, depending on who.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on who we're talking about specifically. And Curtis seems to be in it more for like the idea of fame than anything else. And the idea of like, oh man, if I take down this big old famous bounty hunter pig, I'm gonna be a big famous guy, and ladies will he's also a womanizer. Let's put that out too, because he keeps going after this girl that is clearly not interested.
And one thing that I found out interesting, I didn't know other countries were affected by America's Great Depression.
Oh yeah, why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, I'm not like a big history buff, and I thought that was mostly in America.
Nope, we were still pumping out and exporting. It would have affected others as well. How badly, though, who knows? Because, the American system of teaching doesn't give a shit about everyone else.
Yeah, and I didn't think that the world was that super interconnected back in the late 20s, early 30s, 1930s.
It was definitely interconnected enough that, like, trade and e-commerce, not e-commerce, but, like, trade and commerce would have been affected.
Okay. Because they were saying in Italy how, like, all the men are out doing things while the women need to run the factories.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like you get the taste of like a bit of fascism because like there's a point where the Italian government is looking into like where Porco is because he's one who is considered to be a deserter, and at one point near the end of the movie they're coming in to like kind of crack down on all of the bounty hunters. And they mentioned like I don't know if they did in the dub you watched, but they brought up the word fascist quite a bit in the sub that I was watching.
Maybe like once or twice, but not a whole lot.
It felt like they brought it up every time the government was mentioned.
Mm.
Now, who knows why they would have tamped it down for the dub.
Maybe 1996 era things were I don't know.
People just didn't want to mention it for the kiddies because it's a kid film.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, no, it's a bunch of stuff like that.
So it just follows this pig man.
Oh, this big man, Curtis shows up. He's kind of a dick. Tries to shoot down Porco. Porco manages to fool him into thinking that he was shot down. He leaves for fuck, I forget where the actual place he went was.
Milan.
Milan, which is not in Italy. I forget if that's its own country or not specifically.
I think that's Spain.
Okay. So he goes there to see about getting his plane repaired. Government agents are obviously, tracking him down because he's a deserter, and they're very upset about that.
Oh wait, no, Milan is in northern Italy.
Oh, okay, interesting. So that they wouldn't be able to track him there then. Well, not track, but like, that they wouldn't have jurisdiction there, I guess, is what it seemed like.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he goes there. We meet up with this cute girl, who's the daughter of the guy who helped design his plane originally.
Granddaughter.
I believe. Granddaughter, sorry. And she ends up convincing him, because at first, it's a woman, she can't do it good. Eventually he's convinced to let her do it. Because of I'm going to say because of the passion that she keeps showing for, like, building that plane and showing him the design that she created overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So, they build the plane. The government agents are coming down on him, and he's like, all right, we got to get out of here. And she's like, I'm going with you. I got to make sure the plane runs right. And he's like, what? You're crazy. I'm not going to let you do that.
Hey, I even built myself a passenger seat in the back.
Yeah. Like, she literally builds herself a section where it's like, I already built myself a thing. I can just sit right in here.
It's like, but that's my plane. What did you do?
Oh, we got to remove the one gun. My fat hips aren't going to fit. So they go back to deal with Curtis. They make it into this big contest with the pirates being like the weird judges, I guess. It becomes a spectacle with a whole bunch of people throwing bets around and everything.
And because Curtis is a womanizer, he says, like, okay, if I win this, I get the girl. If you win, hey, I'll pay off all my debts to your mechanic.
I'll pay off all of Porco's debts, yes. I should also point out that there's this other girl, the big singer woman that Porco supposedly may or may not be romantically interested in. It's not really clear on his end. She, though, is very interested in him. Now, granted, she's been widowed 3 times prior to this, but
And it seems like Theo may have a thing for Porco.
Oh, most definitely. Theo being the granddaughter that was designing the new version of the plane.
And by the end, it seems that Porco may return some feelings.
It's up in the air because he kind of like, as the government comes cracking down on the contest, Porco kind of like says, I forget who he gives her to, but he gives her to someone, and he says, take her and get her out of here. And then we get like a voiceover from Theo at the end being like, I never saw Porco again. Me and the girl, I forget what the singer's name is, I'm blanking on it, but me and her have, exchanged letters and stuff. But whether or not, Porco ever, returned the favor with her, I'll leave that alone. I'll let you think about that.
Gina.
Gina, yes, there we go.
Let me just get a picture of Porco and Gina to throw into the chat.
So the question is, did Porco ever not become a pig again? And the answer is, who the hell knows?
So, how many people did he do hits on?
That we've seen, we only saw one in the opening, where he rescued a bunch of school kids that were abducted,
Okay.
probably for the ransom money. As for like anyone else, Curtis kind of brought that all to a close when he and him had that dog fight, and Porco had to go and get his plane repaired. After that, there really wasn't much else, insofar as like bounties.
Okay.
I did hear that around the time of Ponyo, they were thinking about making a sequel to Porco Rosso. Whether it would have been like a short film or something, but that never really developed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ghibli doesn't really make sequels all that much. I think they did do a like 5-minute thing about the cat bus from Totoro, and maybe another 5-minute thing about another one of their movies, but that's it.
Is it so? It's not in the same universe, or are any of his movies in the same universe?
No, 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 no.
I don't believe so.
You didn't think that far ahead.
Nope. Nope. Marvel beat him to it.
Yeah,
But
Marvel did it.
but like you have like nature fantasy, magic fantasy,
He keeps a lot of the same themes.
yeah. But just like the style of the movies, I'm thinking, okay, how could these be in the same universe now?
Mm-hmm.
But like people can probably Pixar theory their way into like all Miyazaki movies share the same universe.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't
But
know. I don't really have a lot to say about that besides just like the ending is kind of unsatisfactory. Um, and like there's no real explanation as to why he's the pig.
yeah. And Curtis at the end may or may not have seen his real face.
May or may not.
Because he's just
Again, unsatisfactory.
because he's like, hey, come back here, let me see your face again. And Porco just walks away, nah, I'm not gonna do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, it's not very clear. And it's very unsatisfactory. I'm gonna keep repeating this. It's very unsatisfactory.
So, did you like the movie in the end?
See that this is gonna be a theme so far. I like about 98% of it. There's 2% that bothers me, and that's the holes that they don't fill, like the holes that they don't give answers to.
Yeah, but
Like the unsatisfactory ending is a big one that just kind of like ruins the enjoyment of it.
yeah, like I did like some of the dogfight scenes. Like that was interesting.
I wish there was more. There's not as much of it as I would have liked.
Yeah, because this movie's only about an hour and a half at most, maybe.
Yes. And there, like I said, there's not a lot of dogfights in this. A lot of it is definitely character related, and I do like that part of it, but you kind of cut out a lot of the action at the same time, it feels like.
And that one scene, like the one flashback where Porco was, or technically Marco, was telling Theo about that one time during the war, did he almost die? And like,
That's what it seems to imply.
okay,
Like there's a real interesting bit where it's like he's rising above the clouds in his plane, and he's seeing what seems to be all the other pilots that were in his battalion, platoon, or whatever the term would be, rising up with their planes until it looks like a giant jet stream of planes and pilots.
There were other designs on the planes, whether that meant different battalions or different countries. They're all floating up.
Yep. So it's implied to be like I assume like the flight path to heaven, so to speak, or whatever the other world would be. You know, the great beyond, what have you. As for what that actually means in the end for Porco, I don't know. Is that like the start of his disillusionment with just humanity as a whole? Maybe.
Because in the flashback, he's human.
Yep. It was before he became a pig.
So, Ryan, do you have any like big questions about the movie that we could possibly answer?
What kind of do you have like a vehicle, like a cool vehicle or anything?
Had like a Red Baron kind of plane.
Okay.
Was it a No, it was. Yeah, it was a biplane.
It was a biplane, but the engine was on the top set of wings. It wasn't set in like
Okay.
the front.
Um.
I think he had his guns mounted in the front.
So he didn't do. That was like my main thing. Was like it just didn't. It didn't really follow him doing any kills. It was just like,
Not particularly.
huh.
It was mostly that final confrontation with Curtis at the end. That was the main thing.
Yeah.
What? It's based on The Age of the Flying Boat, a 3-part 1989 watercolor manga by Miyazaki.
Huh. Interesting.
A watercolor manga? Huh. Oh, wow. The manga, according to Wikipedia, is far more lighthearted.
Huh.
Porco's past is not discussed. The rise of fascism is mentioned. Gina doesn't appear at all. Porco is much more lighthearted, but the basic storyline and the charm are carried over into the anime.
Huh.
Now I may need to track it down.
Add it to the list.
Yep, for my manga that I need to read. Huh. I'm just wondering what a water... I mean, they have one image on Wikipedia, but I would just want to know like what a full watercolor manga looks like.
Oh.
Yeah. Probably pretty neat.
It looked like it was made of watercolor.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of it. Well, like the cover, anyway. So,
Oh, you know what?
yes.
I just
Ah,
saw
there we
the. I've definitely
Huh.
seen this before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just saw. Yeah. I didn't have the text channel open. And I
So-
just saw that. That's very familiar.
Oh, so you may have seen the movie in the past.
Yeah.
Long time ago, maybe.
Yeah,
very, very long time ago.
yeah, like I think I saw this during some Cartoon Network Turner
Yeah.
Classic Movie Miyazaki event, like
Yeah, that's
15 years ago, maybe
Yeah.
more.
20.
I
Yeah, 20.
literally wouldn't. This one is one I don't remember. This is the first time I've seen it outside of just clips.
Okay.
Mm. But Miyazaki's magic is there. Like, this is a really good movie.
Oh yeah, the fucking animation and music and everything like that is all perfect. It's great. I just have my qualms with parts of the story. That's all.
Does Miyazaki write the story, too?
It's a manga he did, right? I assume it was him.
Yeah, based on, directed screenplay and based on a work by Hayao Miyazaki.
Yep, there you go.
So, it's kind of interesting that they didn't give his backstory a little bit more in the movie, and how they
Yeah.
Mhm.
waited for, like, extraneous materials.
Yeah. It's just real weird to me that he's like they don't give an explanation for like the big thing of like, well, he's a pig, so how?
And everybody's like, "Oh, Marco, come in!" And
Well,
it's
yeah,
like,
it's
hey.
like this is just him. He's just a pig, and it's like, does nobody like? I get the idea that he's probably been this way for a while, but nobody's just gonna sit there and be like, "How the fuck did you get magical pigified here? Huh? What? How'd you get porkified, buddy?"
Did you go to Spirited Away?
Like, yeah, because this one is very much down to earth. Otherwise, it's very much just based in reality.
Yeah, like like we were saying earlier, that's the only fantastical element of it. He's a pig.
I know, and even Curtis, who never met him until this point in the movie, is just like, well, if I take down this pig, it'll be me winning. And I'm just sitting here like, you've never seen him before. You're not even going to comment with something like, oh shit, he actually is a pig. What the what the fuck, man?
And it's like when Theo sees him as human, she's like, oh, wait, what was that I saw? So there is a distinctness between him as human and him as a pig.
Yep. Like, it's clear others see him this way, like as the head, like he's got the pig head.
Yeah, which is just interesting that is not fully explained.
Yeah, it's not like it's just in his head.
And going back to the end, what did you think, like, how Curtis runs out of bullets, Porco's guns jam, so that they decide to turn it into a boxing match in the middle of the canal?
I'm disappointed because it felt like the dog fight ended too quickly.
Yeah?
I felt like that should have gone on a little bit longer. Because then what was the whole point of us building up this plane besides just having Theo be there?
Fan service for her swimming scene?
Oh, yeah. Fan service from like the 1930s.
1930s fan service! Woo!
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I guess that's all for this episode, since it was a movie a bit on the shorter side. Yep. So come back with us next week for a magical castle
Oh.
Ooh, fancy.
and curses. So many curses.
I've got words for that one.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.